So I'm going to change the fuel filter now. So I did notice when I was doing the comparison that a lot of the service centers don't actually change this, or nothing specifically said that they were going to change this. I change mine every single year, super easy to do, and the filter was £17.35. Once I've changed the fuel filter, I'm going to throw in a can of liquid mileage system cleaner. The link for this in the description below, along with the petrol equivalent. All you do is you throw in the whole can into a full tank of fuel, and it cleans your engine as you're driving. For this you'll need something like a sandwich box to collect the fuel, so there's a little tap at the bottom that you unscrew. You need something which is going to be long and flat like so, and then you'll need a 35 or 36 mil spanner or an adjustable spanner, which will do up to 36. So let's go ahead and do that, and you'll need a sandwich bag as well to collect the fuel filter in. The fuel filter is located on the same side as the fuel cap, and this filter stops contaminants from your fuel tank going into the engine. It's the easiest one to actually change the whole vehicle. If open up the screw, so just unscrew it all the way, let the tap drop out, and simply just wait for all the fuel to come out. So the fuel that will come out would just be what's within the filter housing itself. Don't worry, you're not going to drain the entire fuel tank. Next up, you want to get your adjustable spanner or your spanner and put it around the attachment at the bottom. Hold the top of the housing unit so that will actually stay with the car, only the lid part will fall off. The brackets for the housing aren't very strong. It shouldn't be too difficult to remove, but if you do have to give it a little bit of a fight, then make sure you hold on to the housing unit. The filter will have a bit of diesel in there, so if you wrap it with a sandwich bag, then that way when it comes off it won't go everywhere. So these are the bottom of the housing. You have the screw here. So what happens is when you start unscrewing this, the diesel will start flowing out. So you need a sandwich box or something to capture the fuel inside. So to open it up, you'll need something quite long and flat because it's quite wide on here. So let's put this back in because we're replacing it now. This is the difference in the used and the old one. So this is why I change mine every year, so you can see in there. And you'll get a new gasket. With the gasket there is a little groove, and on my car it has been going that way up, so the groove's up on the top and the flat bit on the bottom, and then we'll put it on the housing. So the screw is in nice and tight, so we're not going to get any leaks. And then it will only go one way, so the blue side is on the way up, and then it will click into place like so. So you can't get it the wrong way around. So as you can see, it's totally dry at the moment, so what we need to do is we need to prime the pump. And what we'll do is we'll keep switching the ignition on and off. We won't turn the engine over, and what you'll hear is like a little winding sound, and that winding sound is the fuel pump being activated. So we're going to do that a handful of times, and then hopefully it will start up first time after that. However, sometimes it might take a few times in order for the fuel to soak into the filter. So let's put it back on. To put it back on, just simply screw it in, and then you want to do it by hand all the way, and then do a small turn just to tighten it up with a spanner. What we need to do now is put the key in the ignition, and we need to put the electronics on. Don't turn the engine over, because at the moment the fuel filter is nice and dry inside the car, so you need to fill it up and let it have time for the fuel to soak into the filter. So what you want to do is turn it, and you'll hear a winding sound. That winding sound is the fuel pump being activated, and you want to do that a few times. So you can go for lucky number 7 if you want to. That's what I'm going to go do. I'm doing this as part of a full service, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to reset the oil now that I've changed it. So to do that, you have the ignition on, press the menu button, so we're going to reset the oil. So gone to oil, and you're going to press and hold and clear it, and then it will show 100%. And then I'm going to write down my mileage ready for next time, but I tend to service the vehicle March time. I'll do an oil change, and then September I tend to do a full service, not only because my MOT is in October, but I also need to make sure the car is winter ready. So the lights are all working properly for the darker nights, and the windscreen wipers are working for the rain. So I tend to change the windscreen wipers each year as well, just to give it the best, because it's only £20. So we're ready to turn the engine over now. It might take a little while to start first time. There we go. And then give it a few revs as well. Just let the fuel go through. To make it a little bit easier to actually dispose of the fuel, it will fit in the can, so once you've dispensed this into the fuel tank, you can use the empty container and pour the old diesel in there, and then you can get rid of this a little bit easier. I always like to do a comparison of what the mechanics are charging versus the DIY. So what I spent and what I've done is the fuel filter, the oil filter, the air and cabin filters, which has cost £123.56 with the oil and the liquid moly extras. The differences in the services from my interpretation of the websites is the interim service is they check over the car and do an oil change. To upgrade and go for a full service, they do a few extra checks along with changing the air filter, and then some of the companies offer a major service where they change the pollen filter and brake fluid. It appears a lot of the service checklist is actually on the MOT. Thanks for sticking around and liking the video if you have. Welcome back if you're a subscriber, and welcome if you are new. The links for any of the products that I've used in the video are in the description below, but you've got the QR code at the top at no extra cost to you. But thanks for watching, thanks for being fans.